Hi, I'm Kristen Davis, and I want to know, are you a Charlotte? You guys, welcome back to Are You a Charlotte? We are here with the fantastic Dylan Mulvaney, and we're going to rewatch, now more specifically, do our rewatch of Cock-A-Doodle-Do.
Yes.
The finale of season 3 of Sex and the City.
We're going to try to be less ADHD in this one.
If possible.
No promises.
But it's a good time. It's a good time. All right. So this, to me, is in so many ways, it has the highs and the lows, right?
Yes.
Like it has so many great things, and then it has this slightly insane and cringeworthy Samantha storyline, which we will get into specifically. But it also has just incredible storyline, especially for Carrie and Miranda.
Yes.
I think. And the reason that I love it is so many different things. But I mean, first of all, there's things I 100% did not remember, like this craziness that Carrie hears roosters crowing all night and all day, which is also odd.
And it wasn't a sound machine.
No.
They were real.
They were real, and they were in a veterinary rescue. They were rescued roosters, she finds out, next door on the Upper East Side, which, okay, I've never heard of this.
They got rescued from cockfighting.
Right, which is a real thing, that there are still cockfighting things going on, which is insane, right? But I've never, I don't know of any rooster rescues in New York City.
Well, it sounds like there's a hole in the market.
I mean, maybe
Here we go.
I should go back and ask them, where'd you guys come up with this? Because usually they have to have...
Did we ever even see actual roosters in it?
Never.
I didn't think so.
She does go to the vet, right?
Yes.
And then she feels bad when she finds out that they've been rescued, right? From the Bronx, I feel like
the
she
line
says?
producer probably said no on that one. Of seeing the real roosters.
Probably.
But then they said, we'll just stick them in the basement.
Right. And she's like, no. She feels guilty that the poor roosters are going to have to go to the basement. But also she never hears anyone really tell her that it's roosters, not chickens.
Right.
Because then when she talks to Big on the phone, she's like, there's chickens and they're crowing. And he's like, roosters. She's like, whatever. You know what I mean?
She's going crazy.
Really funny. She is losing her mind a little bit, but it's adorable. And also, I think it was really hot that summer. That's what went through my head many times. Oh, and I didn't tell you my story about the roof. This is the one thing that I remember the most vividly. I didn't even remember that awesome scene that Kyle and I did laying against the wall.
Really?
I had no memory of it. Alan Coulter, the director, brought it up to me in his episode as something, like he was bringing up the things that he fondly remembered as being like good moments that we did together. And I was like, yeah, I don't remember that at all. He said, I really loved it because at the time, he said, we had tried to block it many different ways. And then finally we were like, none of this works. Let's just lean against the wall. Let's just lean against the wall and just talk simply, which I think really was powerful and worked.
Honest. Yeah,
it was great. It was amazing. And I was so happy that it stood the test of time and was awesome. And I don't even remember, online we put Kyle and people were like, why did you even give up with that character trait? And I'm like, I don't know, because I forget the things, right? I vaguely remember the impotence, but I didn't remember that then we have sex once we separate. It's all very interesting. But the roof. Back.
This is the roof scene at the end of the episode.
The roof scene at the end of the episode with the very, very much used photograph of us where they were like, laugh, everybody laugh. And so we're like, ah. It was so hot that the tar on the top of that rooftop was melted and ruined all of our shoes.
No, on the bottoms.
Yes, and it was the end of the season. So Sin and I had gotten an ice cream truck because we knew it was hot, right? To bring ice cream for the whole crew. But we were on the roof. It was just like 30 floors up. The elevator broke, people.
No.
So we had to walk. We had to get the boxes of the ice cream and walk them up. All of these stairs.
God. It was probably melted by the time you got up there.
It was a little melted, but no one cared.
No,
Everyone
they'll
was just
take whatever we
so
could get.
happy to get anything cold in any way, even slightly cold, up to the tippy top. And the other thing that I saw recently, and it really, really just brought back so many memories for me, because I do remember when I talk to people on the podcast, they're like, oh, you guys were the biggest hit right away. That was not our experience. Our experience was that we had to work hard and we had to do press. We would talk to anybody for years and years and years, right? Someone like E.T. maybe, or E, came to the set that day, that sweltering over 100 degree day, to talk to maybe all of us, but definitely Sarah Jessica, about what is the show. People were still asking us, what is the show, right? This is season 3. And she gives the most adorable interview that is on Instagram. She's like, well, I play Carrie, and I write a sex column for The Observer, and I have girlfriends, and they're in the show with me, and there's Charlotte, and she believes in love, and she's a little bit more like so by the book, like straight up. Do you know what I mean? And she tells the whole thing like just in one take, which if you ever see Sarah Jessica now in an interview situation, it's a much more complex situation going on. Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
she's not
really
giving anybody
thoughtful.
any easy answers.
No.
But back then, that's how important we felt like it was to sell the show.
Yes,
that people understand. Like
there's a log line of this interview.
Exactly, we're not real sex. You know, on HBO in the middle of the night. This is what we are. It's adorable, and she's wearing that whole outfit. She's wearing her like it's like a diaper kind of. But it's the cutest diaper you've ever seen in your entire life with like a halter. Anything off. So and good. It's like a creation of she and Pat.
You were kind of giving like 13 going on 30
100%, which I think is like similar years.
Yeah, and we're back in it, babe.
I know, we are back in it. I also feel like Pat has got me in a short skirt, which is really against my, what I want to be wearing. And you can tell by the fact that I literally don't get up off that thing. I like wriggle around a little bit.
No improv for you.
I'm like worried about my legs. I'm just really worried about my legs the whole scene. That's all I can think of when I watch it. And I just remember like just the heat radiating up from that tar, and everybody just sweltering and sweaty and trying to be jovial. And Carrie's got to get up and do her little
twirl.
Turn. And she was all worried because she's wearing her nude fishnet, which was like a big thing at the time. We were all out trying to find the nude fishnet. We were very into it.
I haven't seen those yet, I don't think, this year.
I haven't either.
Okay.
Anyway, back to the episode. So let's just do Charlotte because that's going to be the easiest, right?
Okay, fair.
Yeah, it's Charlotte. We come to her at the coffee shop. That's the first time we see her, and she's sad about Trey, and she's sad about that she's separated, and that who wants to be divorced at 30, whatever she is at the time, and they're kind of trying to they come over to my apartment and unpack, which was weird because I guess we haven't gone through the whole thing where I end up getting his apartment.
Right.
I hadn't remembered that at all. But there's a pink lamp that I still have in my own bedroom. And there's a mirror that I had for many years that moved with Charlotte, around that I got to keep.
Okay,
which is nice. Yeah. I love that pink lamp. But I don't remember this at all. And it's so sweet that the girls come to help me unpack. And it's a very Alan Coulter scene because we're all moving in and out of frame, but the frame doesn't really move. And it was a really hard thing as an actor to remember, like, I've got to be to this place by this line. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But that was his specialty in a way. So we always knew, like, you have to be, like, have your thinking cap on, like, have enough coffee on the day that Alan Coulter's there so that you can do the choreography.
Well,
exactly.
She's on Broadway. Here we go.
I hope I can live up to that fantasy. Then, so I say, I have this scene where I like walk to the doorway and say, like, wouldn't it be great if men didn't exist and then we wouldn't feel disappointed? I mean, have you seen this thing about this article that this woman wrote about that people are embarrassed to post their boyfriends now?
Yes.
It's so great.
It's kind of iconic.
Right?
But it's how wild that we got to that from where she was in that doorway.
Right? Because like back then, and this is someone who desperately wanted to get married, right? But then who's obviously so disappointed.
And every other character had almost said that in a different context before, but we never thought we'd see Charlotte say it.
And Charlotte's like, it would just be so much better if there were no men. Then we could just feel good about ourselves. And that's kind of what we're seeing in this interesting 2025 version of like, we can make our own living. We've got our great house. We've got our great friends. We've got our dogs. We're traveling, whatever it is.
If it's kind of creating boundaries in relationships in a way that like of being so clear about what it is you're looking for and what you want in someone else.
Right.
And if they don't meet the mark, then... But
why?
When your character did that, I think probably the clearest of being pretty specific.
She was certainly very specific. I think the main lesson in Trey, which I didn't realize was as complicated as it is, right? And we're only partway through it by this episode. But, her issue was that she wanted the picture book, right? Like, how there's going to be that scene where he comes to take the picture with her, even though it's really over.
She wanted the home and garden.
Because he understands.
Town and country.
Yeah, exactly. He understands how important that is for her, right? And that is something that's really important for her, but that is an empty picture, And so that's her lesson, is that learning that your picture perfect doesn't make you happy, right?
1000%.
And that's why then Harry, shows up on the scene and does make her happy. Thank goodness, because that's what she really wanted and needed. But you have to be smart enough and know yourself well enough.
Right. She almost manifested too hard. And
I think for sure she was so focused. And I do think that when women focus, they focus, 150%.
Yes.
And they do get what they want. It's just not necessarily, they don't want what's actually going to make them happy.
Right.
But they don't know this till they get it and find that out. Right. And that's what I loved about Charlotte.
Yeah.
And that was the plan. I mean, our writers, they told me that was the plan. And I was like, okay. But then once Kyle came, I was like, but you guys.
But we love him.
We can't let him go.
But he played it so well.
So brilliantly. So brilliantly. So brilliantly. He's so good in that scene when we lean on the backboard and I ask him, whatever it is, it's like the lower part of the wall. And I ask him, like, did you actually ever really want to marry me? Mm-hmm. And he says, well, I don't know that I really wanted to marry anyone. Does he say that? Something like that. He said, I just thought I should. It's nice to hear a man saying that.
Yes.
It's interesting, right? And
it's a different flip of your coin because you obviously were like, I should get married. I will get married. And it should look exactly like this.
Right.
So you were guilty of a similar crime.
Definitely, which is so perfect. So perfect.
Yeah.
So perfect. And then he says very sweetly, and I say something like, well, why did you then? And he said, because I felt like I had to and society's telling me I have to, but also I didn't think I'd ever find anyone better than you or whatever, more perfect or something.
Mm-hmm.
So sweet. Sad though.
He loved her.
I know, but it's sad. But then we carry on next season.
Oh, yep.
So we'll see. I don't remember. I don't know what happens. Okay.
Because not all the crazy sex hasn't happened yet.
No.
Oh my God.
I mean, just once, the one
Yes.
time. Right. But can I just say, I don't know if I should say this, but I mean, I could watch Kyle and I kissing all day long.
Oh, it works.
It's
Let me
good,
tell you,
right?
chemistry's great. Well,
I know,
and it was
right?
I think it was, as an audience member, we wanted like it was like
Listen, I want it. And I was in it. And
so
I
refreshing.
want it, right?
Yeah. Well, it's
I know.
also how interesting that you've built this relationship with this relationship up with this other actor, and you haven't done any of those sex scenes, whereas everybody else is meeting someone the first day, and then so you're obviously so comfortable with Kyle at that point,
Right?
And then it's like you're finally doing what everybody else has been doing the entire season,
Which is a much way to. It's very hard to just meet someone and have to jump in bed with them on the
Right.
set. You know what I'm saying? It's very awkward.
And so Kyle was probably one of the few that you got that to do that with.
Oh, for sure. I mean, I had been making out with him for many, many months at this point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also, it was very tasteful the way we do,
Yes.
this particular, like he comes in the door and then it's craziness, but then we just fall out of frame, which is cute, I thought.
And I think to land that next moment of the honesty of it, so that it didn't feel camp,
Definitely. No, I know. Alan Coulter did a great job
really
directing
good
that.
director.
I know he is a good director. We always loved him. He was one of my absolute favorites, which is why I had him on the pod. All right, so that's Charlotte. And yes, so he confesses that he says he hadn't felt the sex drive since before they got engaged, which is interesting because, Charlotte was the one who was like, I'm going to make him wait because I think this could be the one, which I think is such a misguided thing.
Of waiting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's misguided to wait a little bit, right? Like, I think that if you don't wait at all, it could, yes, tell us.
Oh my God, the rules. Did you ever read the rules?
Oh my God, did I
had
ever
a
read the
whole
rules?
last year situation.
Last year?
Well, I was a bridesmaid. I know. What
I
year
love
is
it
it?
so much. Please keep telling me.
I was a bridesmaid in my god sister's wedding.
Okay.
And it was, me, this trans girl living in LA, and then the most wholesome sort of, couples that had gotten married early 20s.
Right. Wow.
And all were on a boat for her bachelorette, and I'm telling them I'm the only single one, and they're all married off and most beautiful blondes you've ever seen, and they go, you need to read the rules. We've all got our husbands because of the rules.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And I'm going, well, I think I Amazon it to the boat. I think I got a dinghy for $5.99 extra. But I mean, and then it became my Bible because I said, well, if it worked for them in Colorado, it's going to work for me, a trans girl in the spotlight in LA.
Oh, no.
And,
Dylan,
it did not.
No.
But one of them was that you can't have sex until
I
the
know, I
third
remember.
or fourth date or
Yes.
something. And I was like, well, that's hard. And then I thought, and there was other ones though where I obviously I think we both love to talk, but it was like, you can't ask a question person before,
Right.
like you, and then you can't
I'm
call
sorry.
them first.
That's messed up.
You
I know.
can't.
It's so many icks.
You can't visit
I
them
think.
if you're long distance. Like, and I lived by that for so long
Oh,
until
no.
I forget what the turning point was, but there was one night where I was reading it and it was towards the end, and I was like, this
Good.
and it, because it was like, it literally was how to take away all of your parts of yourself in order to be a good wife, or
That's
like
a
a
nightmare.
potential.
Ew.
And then I was like, but then what happens when you actually get married and then
Right.
they find out who you are?
For sure.
But maybe was it kind of, do you think Charlotte would have read the rules?
Oh yeah, no, Charlotte's got a bunch of books. I can't remember if I held the rules up. She's got a bunch of books. She's got the book about how you need to look at it like a corporate, job, right?
Yeah.
Like she's got to make cold calls and whatever, call her married friends' husbands and ask them to set her up on dates, whatever. That was a weird one.
And then you got set up with the married guy who was the friend. Oh, that was
but
so
that's
icky.
how I meet Trey. But yeah,
That's
it was
true.
so icky. And Charlotte's like, what? Which I thought was funny. But I do think she had the rules on her bookshelf at one point, like maybe first or second season. Because I mean, there was a time where you couldn't escape that fucking book.
It was
Excuse
everywhere?
me. Yeah.
Also, do you think this idea of her saving herself for marriage, she obviously had sex before,
Clearly.
and then did I think I remember that correctly?
Yeah.
But do you think that she was like, this is the one I want, so I'm gonna do it differently?
Definitely. Well, I think she tried many things, right? Like how you do when you have this goal, but you don't know how to get to it. And so she tried many things, and she did, I think, have in her head in general, I've got to keep him. Like, because they just make out for weeks, man.
Yes,
And I won't
they're
let him in the
obsessed.
house or whatever. It's crazy.
But do you think it would have gone differently if she would have had sex with him?
Well, I think it would have gone differently because I feel, what do I know, right? They are fictional characters, but
Just go back for a second. Keep
like
going.
what would have happened was that, so he says in this scene, I haven't felt this sex drive since before we got engaged,
Mm-hmm.
right? So that means when they got engaged, which Charlotte engineers.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like that was Charlotte's doing the timing of it, right? Maybe he was thinking it, but he's not gonna do it right then. And then he buys her the ring because she's pouting and blah, 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 right? So it was all kind of backwards.
Alrighty.
Alrighty, yes. The nightmare word, yes. That was, people just said that to us all the time for quite some time. I think what would have happened was they would have been free
To define their relationship as they see.
And they would have been free from whatever constraint shut him down, right? Which has to do obviously with his mother and whatnot.
And your pressure to...
And my pressure on my timeline to get engaged. And then you're in, I do think that's something that happens, and I hope it's less so now in 2025, but I'm not sure if it is. You do go into a husband-wife mentality of like, oh, we're doing the things that are expected of us. And that can feel very stifling, for people. So I think if Charlotte hadn't made him wait and done all these things, then he would have been freer, and maybe they could have found each other in a freer way, in a more complete way.
Right.
And then hopefully things could have still gone along. I don't think that he's that kind of guy where he needs the pursuit, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel like he's that. I feel like he's a good guy, but he does seem to have some kind of deep-seated issues.
Well, those families do breed them that way sometimes.
For sure. And not a family where you're talking about your feelings freely. As Charlotte also.
Not Bunny.
Charlotte, no, not Bunny McDougal. She's going to smoke and be mean. But Charlotte at one point earlier in the show says, in my family, we don't talk about our feelings, we play tennis. Which was true in his family too,
Yes.
right? Like that whole tennis. Anyway. So who knows what would have happened?
Okay.
We will never know. But I think what's great is we're going to see in the fourth season, where apparently we have a lot of sex. I don't remember this.
Well, you're about to.
I guess I am. I'm excited to see it. But I did really love how we leave it there with us just talking really honestly, which is really, really nice. Okay, let's just ignore Samantha for a second because we have talked about her for a while. Let's talk about Miranda. It's so good.
It's really good.
It's so good. And if you think about the whole trajectory of Miranda, including the films and then Just Like That, she's struggling with the fact that she's judgmental. It's so great. And I love her so much.
And it's like triggered in the weirdest way of her ordering food.
Yes.
And feeling judged.
Yes, because the girl laughs at her and knows her order.
Yes.
And then she goes down there to confront this woman who's laughing at her and sees her laughing in the same way with someone else over nothing. And then she realizes that it's not about her, which is like so true to life.
There's so many of those moments where you like, I think it's somebody, a lot of people say they're never thinking about you the way that you think they are.
Of course.
We're all so like individual that we're not thinking about other people that way.
We're not. But of course you take it personally
Yes.
if you feel like someone's
all
laughing
the
at you.
time.
And of
And
course
then-
Miranda would.
Do you ever have those conversations in the shower with yourself where like it's like all the things you would say to a person if you were, and then
Yes.
those conversations never happen?
Yes. But that's what I love so much about Miranda and Carrie. Like when they do get in this fight in this
the first
particular
big one
episode,
ever.
it's the first. Well, there is one earlier on that's also about Big, where Carrie calls her from a phone booth in the rain.
Yep.
And then you think she might be calling Big, but then she goes and she meets Miranda. Miranda's all wet and she's come to the coffee shop. That I think was the first fight.
Yes.
But it wasn't as in depth as this fight. This fight, to me,
All of it on the table.
it was so good and so risky. Like I never fight with my girlfriends. I'd be scared to death. I shouldn't say never. Occasionally a fight will happen.
the tension is like
Tension
cut it
is
with
so
a
high
knife.
because I feel like it's very risky to say things like this to your girlfriends.
Because that's your safe space.
It's your safe space, and you might be blowing up your safe space because literally Miranda says to Carrie, I do not want to hear about Big again. And I do not want you coming to cry on my shoulder. You know, and she's not wrong, right? But then in the end, of course, she is wrong because of course you're going to be there for your friend to cry on the
Yes.
shoulder. And if the friend has to go through that, the friend has to go through that.
And I think that was such a growing pain moment of like, because it leveled the playing field in a way, because I think they both got everything they needed to off their chest, not in the most productive way,
Right.
but in a way that then their friendship, when you get through something like that, it only becomes richer.
Absolutely. And that's what is so incredible about them because they're both so strong in their own ways. I mean, Miranda's kind of more openly strong and judgy, but Carrie's very strong as well, right? And she stands right back up to her in the vintage shop. You know,
Yes.
the whole thing in the vintage shop. I had forgotten
Stubborn.
all about it.
Well, all the girls can be stubborn.
100%. That's very true. That's very, very true in their own ways. It's very, very true. Very, very true. All right. So wait.
Oh, they run into the boyfriends.
They run into the boyfriends. That was so crazy. I didn't remember that. I didn't even remember that Steve and Aiden become friends. But it totally makes so much sense. They both have their dogs. They're both like regular
Simple guys that
right?
just- and-
I mean, is Aiden simple? I don't think so. But he kind of seems like he might be.
I think it's the delusion of the girls, because I feel like me and my girlfriends, we operate out of delusion, and that's why we've gotten where we are, is because we're like, well, of course these guys are just having drinks thinking about us and talking about us.
Right,
They're not
right,
on a
right,
date
right.
with other women.
Right. That's so sad.
But when those girls walk out,
come
and they're
out
so
mortifying.
gorgeous, wherever those women are.
I know.
And it hits you, and it's the most embarrassing thing, and you fall from this pedestal. And then when they're bumping, they don't know where to do with their
funny
bodies.
when they can't get out. Oh my God.
But have you ever had any weird run-ins with exes?
Oh, Dylan, I'm sure I have. I don't even know. Your questions are too good and slightly scary.
And scary.
Yeah, slightly scary. You can tell by the
Oops.
deer in the headlights. I can't think right now. I mean, yeah, I generally am relatively friendly with my exes.
Okay.
You
How
know?
about, have you ever worn something that like you knew you were going to see your ex, and so you're like, I'm going to look like this?
Well,
Like,
for sure. I mean, it's been a while.
it's been a second.
Yeah, since I've been concerned with any exes. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
They're like, I'm like kind of over it all. Do you know what I mean?
Not yet. I'm concerned about
Are you?
exes. Yeah.
Are you?
Well, because maybe one of them could still be the one. No, I
Have
don't-
you heard, is it Opalite? I'm going to talk a Taylor Swift song right now.
Okay.
She has this line. I love it so much. It's at the beginning. Have you heard Is it Opalite? She says, I have this habit of living in the past. I think she says, thinking about my exes. My brother calls it eating from the trash.
Honey, pull the trash can out, because I'm hungry.
Interesting.
No.
I don't know if you should do that though,
No,
Dylan.
no.
It can be a waste of time.
Wait, and then I wrote down a quote from
we're gonna hear a quote.
this
I can't wait.
episode. And sadly, I wish it was a Taylor Swift lyric, but this one was the rear view mirror.
Yes.
The relationship appears closer than it.
Right.
The relationship appears closer than it appears.
Listen, I'm a master at this, and I just need to tell you, don't waste your time with this.
Okay.
If they're gone for a reason. They're going to come back. Don't let them. You need to be moving forward. This. Take it from me. I've spent a lot of time waiting for people.
In the way that Alabama guy taught me, he was like, "You're a woman."
Yeah.
I'm also now. Kristen Davis has taught me that I don't need to go back to the bad ones.
You don't.
No, let it go.
They're going to come.
But
try.
I will say, the rear view mirror for Carrie,
yes,
I think is really interesting because you start to romanticize it.
Of course.
Once the time goes on, you're like, wait, what was so bad?
Right, but that's what I do love about Carrie, because Carrie, in this is the episode where they go and have lunch at the boathouse and fall in the pond.
Yes.
Which was like a very big deal. And she wears that incredible, I think it's a Richard Tyler dress, who the designer
Which almost
that we
you
both
think
wore.
it's going to be the naked dress because of she's
Definitely,
about to be wet
but
in
it's
it.
lunch, right? It's lunch and it's chiffon.
She knew exactly what
and
she was
it's
doing.
It's better. But I remember the stress about them falling in the pond. And they had like hydrogen peroxide to like pour because it's green. It's solid green, that pond. Like you don't want to go in that pond. Do you know what I
No.
mean? But it was such a great thing that they were like, yeah, we're going to do it. So we had like first aid there and everything. And then she cuts her foot in the pond.
No.
Yeah, she cut her foot in the pond. She had to go get a tetanus shot. And then this is another thing that I remember happening because I wasn't there that day, but I remember like if there's a big
There's
day,
rumbling.
You're worried like how's it going? And I think Sarah and I might have had our Blackberries at that point, the original ones, like the tiny
TBT.
little ones. Yeah. And we would text all day, you know, and I was like so worried, like, how's it going? How's it going? And you know how they fall so beautifully in the water because he kind of comes in to kiss her and she's like, ah. And then her physical comedy is so brilliant,
Unreal.
you know? So she like very gorgeously slow-mo goes backward and her leg kicks up. Well, the paparazzi had been there and they took a bunch of pictures, and then later they reached out to her people and was like, well, we have pictures of Sarah Jessica falling in the pond and she wasn't wearing underwear and you need to pay us for these pictures. And Sarah Jessica was like, I was totally wearing underwear. What are they talking about?
That's
like
psychotic.
I know this is how it is.
Oh,
okay.
girl.
This is how it is. And I remember the stress and I was so stressed out. Like,
Yes.
what could those pictures be? And she was like, I was wearing underwear. Don't even worry. I'm not even worried about it. And I was like, you are stronger than me. But you know, they didn't
Did they
go
prep
anywhere.
the pond in any way?
No,
Like,
it's huge. You've seen
there's
the pond
no-
in
they were not
Central
pouring
Park? There's nothing to be
peroxide
done.
in there.
No,
No.
they had doused them with hydrogen peroxide, like over their heads.
I hope they got a good wrap gift for that.
I don't think so.
No.
Back in the day, I can't think of what the wrap gift was. I don't know.
But then part of me, I think, because I'm so optimistic and just want to do everything twice, I'd be like, oh, I get to fall. Like I'm one of the few people that get to fall in the pond.
I mean, I do think they felt it was special.
Okay.
Because it was so, we hate the word iconic because everyone used to use it back in the day and now people use it every other sentence or whatever. It was iconic.
What was your most special thing that you said, I can't believe this is happening to me right now?
My first thought was the Trey wedding because it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
But the second thought was the wedding that doesn't happen in the movie because we're at the New York Public Library.
Yes.
And we filmed there for so long. And it was so gorgeous.
I recreated your when Big's coming after
You
Carrie and I was in the
did.
little black dress with
You
the
did?
no.
Good job.
That
it's fun.
was so, but that felt crazier. Like
It felt crazy because it was so big and beautiful, and like we had a room in the public library that I have pictures of us where we would lounge between takes, you know.
Yes.
And we'd hang up my dress because it was so big and we had to steam it out all the time, and we'd be in robes, like lounging with the tapestries behind us. Like it was so nuts that
really
we were
cool.
allowed to be
Yes.
there, you know. And that went on for a while too, right? Like at least a week, maybe more. I mean, so many different things have been so huge. Going to Morocco, filming in Morocco. I mean, I could go on. We filmed in the Sahara Desert on the camels. I mean,
doesn't get much crazier than that.
it doesn't. And that was us, a little show about 4 women stomping around Manhattan. You
Anything's
know what
possible.
I mean? anything is possible. It's true. All right, back to the show.
Let's
go. Okay, so Carrie and Miranda run into Steve and Aiden. It's really sad because then these really cute girls, Jessica and Susan, show up. And this is after Carrie and Miranda and Miranda have hidden in the hallway thinking like they've got to run, they've got to hide. They're out there talking about us, whatever. They think, of course, the world revolves around them, but it doesn't because they're on dates, which is really funny. And those girls are cute. And then they're all like bumping into each other trying to it's adorable. So adorable.
I don't think they thought they were adorable.
I'm sure they didn't
but they
think
did
they
look
were
really
adorable.
good for having run into their exes.
They did. But also the thing that kind of breaks my heart in that scene is Corbett, the sadness on Aiden's face. He basically doesn't speak. Like, I think he says something like, "How are you, Carrie?" But literally the sadness on his face is so powerful and well done.
He's broken.
And he's not into that girl. Do you know what I mean?
No, and he probably like put up a fight with Steve to even do that.
Yep.
And yet, of course, that Carrie swoops in and she's there.
Right. But I thought it was really good. And I think Corbett in general is really good. I'm hoping someday he'll come on here and talk to me.
Come.
I know. But then, so this is the big scene. And I love the scene for so many reasons. And I think it was so well written. And I think also, like, if you think about the trajectory, it's hard to say, of Miranda and Carrie, it's a crazy, powerful friendship. And the writing is never better.
No, that scene when they're trying stuff on.
The vintage.
It's almost as if they like clipped it from someone's life, and
it's so good. And it happens like kind of a surprise. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's not like anyone's like trying to start a fight or whatever. It's just that Carrie confesses to her. First she says, "Do you want to do something on Saturday?" And she says, "No, I have to work." And then she's like, "No, I feel bad that I just lied to my friend." So she says, "No, I don't have to work. I'm going to go see Big." And Miranda, she's like, you
straw that broke the camel's back.
Right? It's extreme, her reaction. And then she's like, "No, I'm not going to be here for another round of this." Like, it's so intense. And Carrie's like, "What?" Like, inside, just like, I can't believe she's saying this to me. And so it's so good. It's so good. And so she says, "Wake up, Carrie. How many more times are you going to go through this? He is bad for you. Jesus, every time you get near him, you turn into this pathetic, needy, insecure victim. And the thing that pisses me off the most is that you're more than willing to go right back for more." I would never say that to one of my friends.
No, and I think like it's interesting though, because that I think is a projection onto Carrie of Miranda's own issues.
Of course.
But like it's also the wording. It's like it's basically the worst version of how to say everything. Of like, you're really fragile. Okay, no, I'm going to say you always make yourself the victim.
Right. Because she doesn't take a moment. That's one thing about Miranda, obviously. She just speaks from the hip. She doesn't take moment to think about how could I say this more gently or lovingly, right? Mm-hmm. She's just like, da, 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 da. And Carrie's like, cut. It's like you cut her. You know what I mean? She looks so hurt.
And when it's your person, that like even more, that's what I have a hard time believing that I will ever find some man that I love more than I love my best friend Lily. But I think that's what's really unique about especially Miranda and Carrie is that like that is such a sacred bond. Mm-hmm. And now what those words just did was it broke it.
Well,
for a second, but like I think it can feel, at least in those moments of when it feels that high of tension.
It's very dangerous.
You don't know how you're going to come back from it.
For sure. It's very dangerous. And that's why I think women friends don't fight like this that often.
Right.
But also why I think it's so great to see them actually go through this.
Yes.
And also, one of the last episodes that I've watched of And Just Like That, they have another fight. Mm-hmm. And it's so great. It's after the birthday party, after Charlotte's birthday party in the kitchen. It's so great. And also at that point, Miranda's just talking about her flirting with the neighbor, right? And she doesn't see it coming. And then Carrie's like, "Why can't I, I'm not doing anything. What are you accusing me of?" You know what I mean? It's super interesting. Super interesting.
It's two different snaps.
Yeah, but they also know, I think at that point, because they've been friends for so long, they know they're going to be fine. But it is still dangerous. It's dangerous because there's too much truth, and so much history.
Right.
and they've seen so much of what everyone has gone through. But I love the scene so much. And so they go, and then Carrie goes right home and presses her, voicemail in the olden days type thing, and there's no message. And she thought she says, I thought by now Miranda would have gotten home and left me a message. And then later on, she goes and calls her, and Miranda was just about to call her, and they're on the same page again, which is so great and so satisfying and so important, so much more important than the men, really. You know what I mean?
Totally.
But she goes to this lunch with Big, and then I didn't remember this at all, but she goes back to Big's apartment and showers or whatever.
Yes, and looks stunning.
Fantastic.
After
the hair bounces back great.
There's makeup in his cabinet.
For sure.
Somebody left something over.
Or maybe Natasha left some.
God.
And we find out Natasha's gone and that Big has painted his wall red. And that Carrie says basically, like, this red wall, it's a great idea, but we just don't really work. Which is so sad. And obviously we know it's not true.
But that's also fascinating because it's similar to Charlotte's moment of saying, did you actually want to marry me?
Yes.
It's Carrie's having her big season finale wake-up call.
It's so true. And you really believe it. I mean, obviously we know what happens later, so we know that that's not the end. But in the moment watching it, I was like, wow, I would have really believed this as a fan watching this. It was very good.
Oh, and he looked so good at the pond in that suit. It was like
he looked good in the suit, but I thought he looked better when he's back at home and his hair's all soft. I like it when his hair's all soft. I know. That's fine. So wait, then Carrie goes, it's one of those really beautiful shots of her writing too. Like, I love how the filming her writing has evolved into just like different angles and fans and atmospheric.
They have to keep reinventing the wheel for those shots.
They do, but they do a great job. They do a great job. So she says, later that night, I got to thinking about men and women in relationships, or more to the point, how women feel men disappoint them in relationships. Then a radical, almost earth-shattering thought popped into my head. What if everything isn't the men's fault? After a certain age and a certain number of relationships, if it still isn't working and the exes seem to be moving on and we don't, perhaps the problem isn't the last boyfriend or the one before him or even the one before him. Could it be that the problem isn't them, but horror of horrors, is it us? I love it so much.
But that is like the fact that monologue took 3 seasons and many more years before that leading up to get to.
It's true, but it's so good. And I just think it's important to remember. It's important to remember, right?
Well, it's accountability.
It is accountability. And also, like, I do think it's very, very easy to think like women, we do one thing and the men do another thing. And like this Alabama guy can totally prove you wrong, right?
Yes.
Like, you have to keep your mind open.
Or having I think the fact that these women, especially at the diner, are constantly explaining for the other man's behaviors and why these women are in the right.
Yes.
But, we only get so many of what did the woman do wrong, where like, I think that is Carrie's sort of like, oh, let's see what I've got going on here.
100%. So then we go to the kiss and make up party on the rooftop. I didn't realize we called it that. I guess we call it a kiss and makeup party. And again, where's the scene in between of how we got to the kiss and makeup?
We need to get to the kiss and makeup party.
I'm super, super interested. And I'm sitting there obsessing over Trey, which is hysterical. But then I say that I'm not going to, I believe, right? Like, poor Charlotte. She needs some help. She needs a therapist. That's what Charlotte needs. You know what I mean? But she doesn't get one for some reason. We did leave out some of the Carrie with the roosters. So insane. I just have to go back to it for a second. So have
you ever had chickens or roosters?
I have never, though I do have friends who do, and I've kind of wanted them.
You give chickens, like you would like have them in your little backyard.
Right. I know people who do, yes.
Okay.
Excuse me, but I did used to live in a canyon here that did have roosters that were like grandfathered in.
And the
roosters did wake me up because I would fly home to get some sleep when we were doing the show, because we worked all night and we never slept, right? And I would come home to my super quiet house up in the hills, and at 5 a.m., those roosters down at the bottom of the hill would start crowing, and I would wake up and I'd be so mad.
And so LA was no longer the sleep city.
No. I mean, I'd go back to sleep, but yeah, they wanted to get us up. I don't think they're there anymore because I lived there for like 20 years, and I think when they died out, I don't think they could get new ones. But I do have friends, and the stress is that you don't always know when they're chicks if they're roosters or not. Right, so you're trying not to get roosters, but then you end up with roosters, and then if you want eggs, you need roosters.
I'm not a morning
it's like
person.
a whole situation.
Yeah,
you're not. I am now because of the kids, and the time change hasn't helped. Right, so we're getting
when
up
you come back,
early.
you get up early.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay. I've become more of a morning person, and it is nice and like you can get some stuff done in the morning.
You feel productive.
You do. You feel productive. So Samantha is in her new apartment in the meatpacking district, which I think we saw her in previously because she gets sick and the light's coming in and she's trying to close the curtains until the curtains break and she wants someone to come help her. And she realizes this a couple episodes ago that like all of her conquests or whatever are not necessarily going to show up for her when she's sick, which is kind of sad and heartbreaking. It made me feel really sad for Samantha that past episode. So she's in her fabulous apartment and we all go over to have drinks, I think, right?
Well, I think she had the altercation before. Wait, no.
She has a guy at one point there.
And then he leaves.
Literally like
because she goes crazy.
Fitness model. Yeah, she gets like obsessive.
She dumps the water.
Oh, God. But let's back up.
Okay.
So Samantha is woken up by a group of trans women on the street. I'm reading my notes right now. Who says, I can't even read these lines.
Nope.
So there's some craziness happening down on the street, okay? And they're loud, and probably there used to not be people living there.
Right.
You know, because it was the meatpacking district, and the meatpacking district was like butchers and things. That's what it really was. So it was probably an area where if you were a sex worker, you could go and no one would be bothered. And
only your callers could. From New Jersey, she says.
Who have driven across the Holland Tunnel. It's right there, and it's easy. You just drive right over the Holland Tunnel, and you're there in the meatpacking district, which is all very real, and I'm sure probably did happen. But I don't know why we needed to have it happen in our show or whatever. But we do have it happening in our show, and Samantha she decides, it's very interesting. She says, I'm going to test my PR skills and talk to them. So she goes out there in that gold trench coat.
Oh, to make nice.
Kind of, yeah. But then when she turns her back and walks away, she kind of rolls her eyes. It's an interesting...
I think she thought she could get what she wanted.
Yeah.
Because I think she, and she is comparing them a lot to men in the episode. And actually what it proves to me is that it's like interacting with trans people, like you can't project some idea of you have to let someone tell you who they are. And she thought she knew who those women were before.
She definitely did. So she goes down to basically make friends with them and to try to reason with them. And she says, this is my new apartment and I'm up there and you guys are too loud. And she meets Destiny, China, and Joe, who are very nice to her.
Yes.
And say like, oh, okay, you know.
They get it.
Yeah, we'll quiet down. And then the next time we see her, she's having sex with some literally like a fitness model. Like, my God,
I don't
Jesus,
even, if we know
dude,
who he is.
We have no idea who he is, what he does, nothing, but they're trying to have sex and he's into it, but she's distracted by the women in the street and she decides she's like obsessive and weird at that point. So the guy gets like what is wrong with you?
Well, she, literally fills up a bucket and dumps it on them, which is such a TV moment. But it's also like, it's funny because it's like, it didn't matter who it was or what it was, but it was the thing prohibiting her from having sex. So it was the enemy.
Having an orgasm.
Well, fair.
Right.
And
I guess.
That's top of the list for her.
She has a lot of orgasms, so I mean,
lucky
whatever.
Girl.
But,
But I think that then it becomes this sort of cat and mouse game of with the egging of.
Oh, that's crazy! I didn't remember that at all. So then that's Destiny. So cut to she throws the water out and it takes someone's wig off. Must be Destiny's, right?
Yes.
And so then Destiny comes back and throws eggs at her window, and Samantha, really not the smartest move, opens the window. What was she thinking? And of course gets a big egg in the face, which she does deserve.
A good you know what? I think that was for the entire community. I'm the only time I'll speak on behalf of the entire community is the egg.
I agree. Because she wasn't smart, number one.
No,
and number two, she does deserve it.
She said the T slur many a time, I think.
She really does.
Was that something that was like a word that was floating around during that time?
I think it was. I mean, I it's hard to remember because I wasn't in that storyline, right? So I didn't like sit down and think it through. But I do remember, I feel like there was some kind of cultural awareness beginning, but it was like baby steps.
Very much.
Where somehow it seemed okay to just be like the tranny.
Yes.
Like casually.
Just say it.
Right. Like somehow tranny seemed more friendly than saying, you know,
a transsexual,
which would have been the word.
Or misgendering straight up, which is what was a lot of that, and a lot of these like allusions to. But I think that a lot of it was the writing. I could tell it was for the comedy. They wanted the jokes
over
in there
over the top.
And I think during that time, people were probably laughing at, not with.
Do you think?
I think they were. I imagine people during that time watching it. Maybe very, liberal people watching it and being concerned, but I can't imagine that level of show with that big of an audience doing something that would upset, that like it didn't seem wildly upsetting at the time. I assume I was only 4.
I don't think it seemed wildly upsetting because I don't remember being upset. I just thought it was so broad and over the top and kind of cliched.
Yes.
Obviously now, but even at the time, I just thought it was like one of those times where. Occasionally, I think sometimes it's because the structure of the show, right, is like you have A storyline, B storyline, C storyline, D storyline, right? And they can't all be serious, right? And they can't all be in depth because there's not time. Even though this episode's longer than
we get a lot in there.
It was 34 minutes, whereas most of our episodes were 22, which is crazy because we get so much in there. But that was definitely the broadest. Like we've got Charlotte kind of having a very kind of real storyline, not funny at all. Carrie, not funny at all. Other than, I mean, when she falls in the pond, I don't know if it's funny, haha, but it's like a lot, obviously. And then, I mean, I think I laughed out loud. I think Big made me laugh out loud. Someone made me laugh out loud, which is pretty funny also at this time, 30 years later. And then we also have, I do think they try to make the meeting of the boyfriends in the street comedic by bumping into each other, but then we also have the argument. We have a lot of drama is what I'm trying to say.
Things.
So I feel like
this was supposed to be the funny.
Yeah. Now to me, I don't ever think I thought it was funny, right? I don't ever also think I had understanding of the deeper reasons that it was wrong. I don't think I had that either, right? But I think I was somewhere in the middle. Right. At that point, right?
And it was also not your storyline.
Right. So I didn't have to delve into it.
I think the hope that I have is that anyone, rewatching it now does get that cringe of understanding of like, oh, this isn't landing the way that this show obviously intended.
Right.
But I also think like my general hope outside of this podcast everywhere is that even if I might not be someone's, cup of tea as a trans person, that they find a trans person in their lives that they can connect to over something other than identity. And I think that that's what's so important of just being able to say, oh, we should have done this different. Or obviously now we would want those characters to be played by trans women. And in this last episode, we were just talking about how a Black trans person talking about this would be very different and important. And I think I think what just makes me so sad right now in this world is how close-minded we've gotten, and that there are people, very famous comedians, still making those same jokes that they were in Sex and the City 25 years later that are on Netflix and so I just hope that we can move forward in the right direction. But my dad is like the sort of straightest, most macho football loving guy, but he does make 400 cookies a week. Very random fact.
Wow.
And
does
loves
he
Costco.
Eat them all?
No, he gives them out to people on the streets.
That's incredible.
Yes. But he was talking to me one night about, he was like, you've shown me, one of the things that I talked to him about was like, he was like, I'm just so scared that your life is going to be so hard. And I said, and he thought that when I was a gay kid, even, that my life was going to be so hard. And we've seen gay marriage come so far,
Right.
and just gay culture and has changed so much in the past 20 years. And I told
Definitely.
him, I was like, my life in 20 years is going to be so much safer and richer and nuanced. This is
Right.
the most nuanced episode that I can think of, at least for me. And I really, really hope that we are looking forward to the future and trying to make the changes now.
I agree. I mean, I think, and that's the other thing I think about. I mean, because like for me, certainly I can't count all of the different trans people that I know. I know so many.
Yes.
In so many different stages of their lives, which is amazing.
Yeah.
And so inspiring.
But I'll just say, having support from someone like you makes me feel like less of a problem in this world, because I think, I know who I am so well, but then when especially the women that I've looked up to my whole life say, I see you for who you are, I stand by you, I support you, it makes me feel like I'm going to be okay.
I'm glad. I mean, I wish that we could somehow, blanket the world in that. You know what I'm saying? Because we want everyone to be okay.
But the world wants to make someone like you scared right now to support trans people.
Well, fuck them.
I love you. Oh my God.
We're not going to do that.
No.
No.
Oh, wow. This was
No.
like,
We're not going backwards. No.
and
That's why I kind of want to keep making the show.
let's call
Because
somebody.
you have to find your way.
Yes.
To tell your story.
And it's messy at the beginning. Oh my God.
Yeah.
And if we're thinking about, I've never compared my transition to, and just like that, but like, you got to find your footing. And a lot of people
Right.
judged me at first. And even
Right.
some of your viewers might be like, oh, isn't that girl who X, Y, and Z? But it's the awkwardness of finding life after, you've lived for so long in one way and trying to re-find it.
Yeah.
Is awkward and messy, but it's earnest.
Yes.
And that's what
And it might have moments of cringe.
yes. Oh my God. I'm cringe.com. And
It's so funny to me the way that the world talks about cringe now. Like that it's somehow avoidable.
yes.
It's not avoidable
No,
if
and-
you're living.
And it's suppressing so many young people's desires through creativity. There's so many
Right.
young people that would be making things right now, but
Right.
they're nervous what their friends are going to
Right.
think.
You can't be nervous about that, people. You got to
No,
go
you
out there and
gotta
do stuff.
Post the video, write the
yeah,
song.
fall on your face.
Oh my God.
Right?
Yes.
Yes, I know.
And you've
I
got
know.
kids, so it's like you are trying to make sure they're walking through life the way that you would want them to.
It's true. And I mean, they are. And because a lot of the kids, people that I know are young people who are trans. And then also now we have people who are finding the strength to come out and be their true selves now, even later at life, because the way the world is changing, even though it is this very herky-jerky, we've got people moving forward, we've got people not moving forward, potentially going back. But you know what? We're not going to be with them.
No.
And hopefully we're going to help them at some point. I'm not sure how, but you know what I'm saying?
We're gonna get there.
We're going to get there because we're all moving forward. I believe that. I do believe that.
too.
And I believe that partly because I know so many people that I cannot allow them not to be whole and happy and safe.
Thank you.
We have to, do what we need to do to make that happen.
Yeah. It's just sad that is up for debate.
It is. It's shocking.
But if it's any consolation to you, me being here and getting to meet you today and seeing you on my wall every day when I wake up is like the greatest gift you could have ever given me.
Thank
And-
you. You're a gift to me. You're a gift to me to be here, to be yourself. I've been
Thank you.
following you. I've been so happy to see your success. It's so
you.
thrilling.
And we're going to get you on Broadway.
I don't know about that. I think you should take the Broadway reins. Okay.
You'll come. Oh,
I'd
and
love
if
to
this
come.
comes out by the time I'm going to be playing
Yes.
Anne Boleyn in Six, the
Anne
musical
Boleyn, I
on
love
Broadway.
it so much.
It's really, you haven't seen it, right?
No.
Okay,
but
we're
I
going
mean,
to
I
get you
love the
if
whole
you're in New
idea.
York.
I'm into it.
It's 80 minutes. I love an in and out
Oh, that's
kind of
nice.
show.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
think one act is all we need these days.
Yeah,
We've
yeah,
got
yeah,
places
yeah.
to be, people to
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
And I think I'll be the first trans person to take on
Amazing.
the show. And it's little things like that I'm not an activist. and I don't see myself, but that's the kind of advocacy that I'd like to do.
Absolutely. I think advocacy can take so many forms. It
Were you
doesn't
with the
have
animals?
to be. Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
love seeing you go to the what's
to
that?
the elephants, the sheldrakes.
I want to go
in
there
Kenya,
one day.
You should go. It's
Okay.
so healing. It's so wonderful. So
wait.
great. So great. So great. I haven't been in a little while. I miss it when I haven't been. Before the kids, I used to go like twice a year, which was wonderful. But,
Have they gone yet? Have the kids gone?
They haven't gone yet.
Okay.
Partly because the time change.
It's a lot.
It's a lot for the 7-year-old, but they're dying to go. And so I keep trying to figure out a way, like, how did you know what I'm saying?
It's gonna happen.
It'll happen for sure because they love it, and I have a lot of pictures up, or the elephants, the baby. Who doesn't love a baby elephant? I know it's a great thing. Do you travel a lot?
I travel all the time, and I used to raise possums in my kitchen in West Hollywood. Well,
Possums?
I mean, there's animals in this episode. I during the pandemic, I lost my job in the Book of Mormon, the musical, and so I had time on my hands, and I got onto kind of the underground possum rehabilitation circuit, which I can get you into if you're interested.
No, I have a little dog.
Okay, fair.
He's a hunter. It's
But possums fall in a pool. They got to call someone.
Oh,
Went over to
my
this woman's
gosh.
house. We raised Pearl. But then you have to let them go unless they've either lost a tail or they've hit their head really hard.
Right.
So I had to let mine go into the wild.
Did she go?
She's out.
Okay,
Well,
good.
actually, they only live 2 to 3 years.
Possums only live 2 to 3 years.
Yeah. Cue when somebody loved me.
Oh.
Everything was beautiful. Pearl. R.I.P. Pearl.
Oh, Pearl, but she got to live a wild life because of you. That's
She did.
amazing.
I know.
That's
And it all
amazing.
started in a West Hollywood kitchen.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know anything about the possums.
But you're doing something similar for the elephants.
I try. I'm just a support for the real people doing it on the ground in Kenya, but I do love it. But advocacy can take many forms.
Yes,
and
it
I
can.
think that sometimes just being present in the world is a form of advocacy at
Yes.
this point in time.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And find someone that you can connect to or follow that helps whatever version that you're looking for of that.
I agree. And for me, I think a lot of it is about creativity. I think it's about expansion. Like
Yep.
who expands my worldview? That's one of the things that I look for.
Makes you think.
Yeah. Who makes me think? Who makes me see things differently? Who's doing something that I wish I could do, that I
Right.
can look up to? You guys, you, Benny, Mary Beth, like the young people that I can find.
We all need to do something together one day.
It would be amazing. But I mean, just watching you guys succeed, it makes me so happy.
Oh,
It makes
I
me
love
so
you.
happy. I love you guys so much. And you're just out there paving the way.
Thank you.
It's amazing. Thank you for being here, Dylan.
Woo-hoo!
It's a dream. We've had it since November and it came true.
It's happening. Wow.